Every morning at the escape room, Sarah and I watched Meredith wander the hospital set like she's lost something vital. She touched the same bed rail, stared at the same IV drip. "She's memorizing the layout," Sarah whispered, half amused. But I saw her grip her medical bracelet like it burned. That wasn't play, it was penance. Her eyes never met ours. There was grief in her silence, heavy like fog. We didn't ask questions, not then, but something felt wrong. The seventh day, Meredith returned with trembling hands and a worn notebook. She walked the route again past the fake monitors. Over the taped line where patients died, Sarah nudged me. "Is this an act?" But it wasn't. Meredith knelt, clutching the bracelet. "I watched him die here," she whispered. We froze, the room blurred. It wasn't a script, she wasn't performing. Sarah stepped back. I stayed still, heart racing. A scene meant for fun had turned into someone's battlefield. Sarah checked the logbook. Meredith had signed in under aliases, 7 times, always to room 6. I asked her why. Her voice cracked. "Because that's where I failed him." She handed me a name, James K. The name was etched on an old prop tag. I felt cold. It wasn't a coincidence. She'd designed this punishment for herself, and we'd been unknowingly hosting her confession ritual. Meredith returned the next day with a flash drive. "These are his records. I altered them," Sarah gasped. Meredith continued. "I was high. I lost the IV count." He seized. She collapsed into a chair, sobbing. I couldn't speak. The bracelet clattered to the floor. Sarah picked it up, eyes wide. This wasn't guilt, it was atonement. Her horror was not imagined. It had a timestamp and a name. In a flashback, Meredith recalled the night James died. She'd ignored the beeping IV alert, thinking it was a glitch. She'd been out of it. The next shift found him unresponsive. No report filed. She'd silenced the truth. Buried it with pills. The escape room, it mirrored that ward. Room 6 was a replica, her twisted tribute. "I couldn't tell anyone," she said, "but I needed to relive it right." The twist hit. Meredith had built room 6 herself, before we were hired. It wasn't company design, it was her penance. Sarah found the old blueprints buried in archives. Every monitor, every detail copied from real equipment. Meredith had lived in that nightmare so long, she rebuilt it, not for healing but to suffer. She didn't want forgiveness, she wanted to hurt like she'd made others hurt. Meredith turned herself in. She walked into the police station with the flash drive, the bracelet in her pocket. "I need to make it right," she said. We never saw her again, but the escape room closed that month. Sarah framed the old notebook page. "Some rooms," she whispered, "aren't meant to be solved, just survived. Guests still ask about room 6. We tell them it was decommissioned. Sarah and I don't explain, we just look at the framed page and remember the weight of silence." Meredith wasn't a villain. She was broken and brave enough to face it. Some puzzles punish, but this one gave us something rare: truth, laid bare and unflinching.